Hello again, how you doing? Michael Heppel here, this time chatting to Brian McKell from Inverkeithing even, up in Scotland, about his music and his career so far. So Brian, thank you first of all for taking the time out to talk to me. I really appreciate it. Now, where did your love for country music begin, would you say?
Oh, that'd be going right back to like my mum and dad were into country music. I started off listening to like the Sydney Divine and Jim Reeves, and it was stuff like that I was brought up on. And so it all came from like, really there.
Is that everything on that one?
Well, it came from there, but then I kind of moved into. It was my brothers were into like they listened to Johnny Cash and stuff as well. So I was always brought up on country music.
Yeah. Who were you influenced by as well?
When I was younger, it's always folk like Johnny Cash, Kenny Rogers. But as I got older myself, it was more when Garth Brooks came out. Everybody loved Garth Brooks because he changed country music. And then got into more like the Tim McGraw and Luke Bryan, which are more kind of your rocky country kind of music.
Yeah. So for the past few months, you've been performing cover songs. What's the initial reaction been like?
It's weird with country music. And the cover songs always go down well, but usually I get the don't sing country music. And then when I don't sing country music, I get asked why I'm not singing country music. So it's when you're doing covers, it's kind of that you can't really win with country music.
Yeah, that's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah. I've been asked a few times not to sing country, and then when I don't sing country, folk ask me why I'm not singing country.
Yeah, that's so strange. So how difficult is the transition from covering well-known songs to releasing original singles?
It's weird because you know when you're covering songs, everybody knows them, or the people you're singing to know them. But then going to your own songs, you start to panic if anybody's going to like it, if anybody's going to listen to it, if it sounds okay, if it's written right. It's just it's stress.
Have you worked with any other musicians?
Well, I started off, my first single was with Eric Michael Jones from America.
All
It
right.
was, I done my first single with him called Both of Me, and then I done another one with him called Strip Mine, which are both out on Spotify and everything like that.
All right. Now, any other way is set to be released, your first solo single. What's the story behind the lyrics on that one?
It started off as a totally different song. It started off just, it was meant to be about like an old man who was just watching life going past. But then when I started to sing the song, I realised it didn't work that way for me singing it. Right. So that's when it changed. That's when it changed to, it was like the young person who noticed the old man every day he was going past, and then sat and asked him why he was sitting watching the world going by. So it kind of went from there to being the young, well, me when I was thinking about it, would be how you would asking him about his sitting there and how life goes, and then me turning into the old person and doing the same.
Yeah.
Kind of, because it didn't start off that way, but it totally changed when I was actually singing it.
Ah, I see. So what are your hopes for it once it's out there, once it's been released?
That you've got all these people that go, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that. I just wanted to get it out because it was what I liked. I liked the song when I done it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted as many people to hear it as I could.
That's a fair enough answer, that one. So what's the plan for the near future then, now that obviously it is your first solo single to be out there? Have you got a plan for an EP or even a whole album?
Well, I've not planned for an EP or an album yet, but I've got another 2 singles that I've done that are coming out soon as well. One of them's in December and the other one will be January, February time. So I have a couple that I've already done, and I've got 3 or 4 that I'm working on now. But I've not actually thought about doing an EP or an album.
Yeah. It'll all come in time.
Yeah.
Is there any social media you'd like to mention?
Well, you can find me on Spotify under Brian McKell. I'm on Facebook, as everybody is these days. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram as well, just under Brian McKell.
No worries. And is there anything that I haven't brought up that you would like people to know?
Well, you were saying about how the lockdowns changed everything. And if it wasn't for if it wasn't for the lockdown, I don't think I would have actually brought a single out.
Really?
Well, because I'd done karaoke and I sang at karaoke's and everything.
Yeah.
I wasn't really thinking about doing singles until the lockdown happened, and that's what pushed me.
That's it.
Because I couldn't go out and sing in front of people anymore, I was like, what else can I do? How can I get... It was more for me than it was for anyone else to start with.
Oh, that's a very interesting answer, yeah. So really, lockdowns actually benefited you rather than kind of affected you.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of other people like that as well, but then you've got the ones that say that it's pushed them back, it's stopped them doing this, but it's kind of pushed me forward to do what I've always thought about doing, but then never doing it.
That's so interesting, that, because like, you do see, I mean, as soon as obviously, we went into Tier 3 yesterday, as soon as you seen all that, obviously a lot of the musicians were all on Facebook kind of ranting and venting a little bit. That's so interesting to hear that you've actually found it the other way, where it's actually benefited and helped you, so that is really good to know.
Yeah. And it's also helped me with starting to do like the production and learning mixing and mastering myself as well.
Yeah. Well, that's really, really interesting to know. Thank you very much for your time there, Brian. It's been a pleasure to hear from you.
Yeah.
And hopefully,
thank you.
When things start to get out there, when you get these new singles released, you'll come back and tell us all about them.
No problem at all, I will do.
Thank you very
much. I would love to.
Time. You take care, mate, and appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bye now.